2 years ago, if you could code, you were valuable. Today, still valuable, but AI writes code too. No-code tools can build interfaces. The how is getting cheaper by the day, but here's what is not getting cheaper: knowing what to build. Understanding the real problem, defining requirements that actually matter, deciding what not to build, that's product owner thinking, and it's the one skill AI cannot replace. I've built dozens of production apps using exactly this approach. Before that, I spent over a decade shipping software inside large teams with multi-million pound budgets, and the skill that transferred wasn't the coding, it was this. Every single project started the same way. Not with a prompt, not with a tool, with a question. What does this person actually need? So in this video, I'll break down the what versus the how framework, show you why product owners are winning right now, and give you the mindset shift that makes AI tools actually useful. And if you want to learn this inside a community of builders, go to Stack Labs. The link's below. If you're a founder, however, who wants this applied to your own business, go to foundana.com. Let me explain the simplest, most important framework in software development. Every piece of software has two parts: the what and the how. The what is the problem you're solving. Who is this for? What do they need? Why do they need it? What does success actually look like? The how is the implementation. What database do we use? What framework? How do we structure the code? How do we deploy it? In a traditional software team, these were two different jobs. The product owner handled the what. They talked to customers, understood problems, wrote requirements, and decided what to build and what to cut. And the development team handled the how. They took those requirements and turned them into working software. Here's what's changed. AI and no-code tools have collapsed the how. You can now build interfaces in minutes, generate backend logic with a single prompt, deploy in a single click. But the what? That's still pretty hard. That still requires a human brain. And if you get it wrong, you just build the wrong thing faster. Let me show what I mean when I have an example that you've probably experienced. You know that close door button in elevators? In most buildings, it doesn't actually do anything. It's not connected. Engineers disconnected them decades ago for safety and accessibility compliance, but people keep pressing it frantically sometimes, multiple times, because it feels like it should work. And the interesting part, building owners know that the button is useless. They keep it anyway. Why? Because removing it made people angrier. The what in this case is that the door closes too slowly. It wasn't the actual what. The real problem was psychological, not mechanical. And this is an example of what happens when you skip product owner thinking. You build features that technically work but miss the actual need entirely. You optimize door speed when you should be optimizing the feeling of control. And in AI tools, you can build that useless feature in 20 minutes instead of 2 weeks. The tools got better, the thinking didn't. Here's why this matters right now. For the last 30 years, knowing how to build was the bottleneck. You had an idea, but you couldn't execute it without developers. And developers were expensive, slow, and in short supply. That created a world where technical skills were the most valuable thing you could have. But that world is ending. AI writes code, no-code tools handle interfaces, platforms like Supabase manage the backend. The how is getting commoditized. So what's left? What is still scarce? Well, it's understanding the actual problem. Talking to customers and hearing what they really need. Not what they say, what they actually want. Defining requirements that are specific enough to build against, prioritizing ruthlessly so you're not building just everything and you're focusing only on the right things. That's product owner thinking. And it's the one thing AI genuinely cannot do for you. Well, very well anyway. AI can build what you tell it to build, but it can't tell you what to build necessarily. It can try, but in general, it can't feel a customer's frustration. It can't really sense that the stated problem isn't the real problem. It can't decide what to cut. And the people who understand this right now are the ones that are winning. They're shipping faster than ever, not because they prompt better, but because they know exactly what to ask for. Quick pause. If this is all resonating, please hit subscribe. I break down product owner thinking and AI-powered development each and every week. And drop a comment. Do you think of yourself more as a builder or a product person? I'm curious to know where you are on that scale. All right, let's keep going. I want to show you what happens when you get the what wrong at scale, because the consequences aren't just wasted time, they can be catastrophic. And here's another example to try and make it hit home. In colonial India, the British government had a cobra problem. Too many cobras in Delhi. So they implemented a simple solution: pay a bounty for every dead cobra. The bounty was 1 rupee per snake, roughly a day's wage for a laborer. The how was executed perfectly. People brought in cobras, collected payment, cobra numbers dropped. Then, unfortunately, there were some unintended consequences. Cobra numbers rocketed. People had started breeding cobras for the bounty. When the government caught on and cancelled the program, breeders released their now worthless snakes into the city. An estimated 2,000 cobras released in a single week. And the cobra population ended up higher than before they started. Economists call this a perverse incentive. When the solution makes the problem worse, and it happens whenever you optimize a metric without understanding the actual system you're working in. The British government defined the what as reduce cobra numbers, but the real what was make Delhi safer. Those aren't the same thing. And because they didn't think like product owners, didn't understand the actual problem and the system around it, they made everything worse. Just remember, when it comes to software development, AI will optimize whatever metric you give it. But if you haven't defined the real what, you'll breed cobras. So how do you actually do this? You, as a product owner, need to get thinking. And I'll be honest, I didn't always think this way. I spent years jumping straight into the building. I love to build stuff. I always, by default, just start. And I was convinced that speed was the goal. I'd ship fast, feel productive, and then watch the thing sit unused. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to actually realize. I wasn't building without asking what right even meant. And the shift starts with one habit, asking what problem is this actually solving? Before you touch any tool, not what feature should I build, not what tool should I use, what problem, for who, and why does it matter? Here's a very simple framework I use on every project. First, who is this for? Not businesses or users, a specific person. What's their role? What's their day like? What are they trying to accomplish? What are their jobs to be done? And then second, what's the actual problem? Not the stated problem, the real one. The elevator button problem was, I feel powerless, not the door is slow. You find this by asking why until you hit something emotional. You can use the 5 whys example of kids. Why, why, why? Third, you should ask, what does success actually look like? If this works perfectly, what's changed? Be very specific. They save 10 hours a week, perhaps? Much better than they're more efficient. Be specific. Fourth, and the one that a lot of people skip, what are we not building? Product owners are defined by what they cut, not what they add. Every feature you don't build is time you can spend on the features that actually matter. I've seen founders spend 6 months building features nobody actually asked for, just because they thought it would be cool. I've actually seen them ship a working MVP in a weekend because they knew exactly what problem they were solving too. So this is the same type of tools, but completely different outcomes. So if you can answer those 4 questions clearly, you've done the hardest part. The build is just execution, and you're becoming a product owner. And when you show up to an AI tool with clear answers to those questions, the tool will work 10 times better. The AI isn't the bottleneck anymore. Your clarity is. And I want to acknowledge something here too. If you've been in the automation or no-code space, this might feel like a big shift to you. It's very easy to get focused on the tools. Which AI model is best? What's the right tech stack? How do I prompt better? And those things, they're not worthless. They do matter, but just not as much as this. They're not the real unlock. The unlock is thinking clearly about the problem before you build the solution. It's understanding that your value isn't, I can make AI do things. Your value is, I know what AI should do for me. Master that, and AI becomes a superpower. Skip it, and you just build the wrong things faster. So, if you want to learn product owner thinking inside of my community of builders who just get this, come to Stack Labs. Links in the description. Or if you're a founder who wants this applied directly in your business, product owner discipline without having to learn it yourself, that's what we do at Foundana.com. That's my bread and butter. Now, finally, the thing that most people miss after they understand this framework is that there's a difference between automations that save minutes and software that actually changes how a team fundamentally works. In this next video, I'll break down exactly what that difference is and why getting it wrong is the most expensive mistake you can make. Click here to watch it now.